right, so we're talking about SATs this morning. High school students are preparing to take their SATs on Saturday, and if your child has been a procrastinator and they're not really as prepared as you would like them to be, we have some last-minute SAT prep advice for you from Ron Carruthers from Ducerus College Planning. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for coming today. SAT is obviously a very important part of getting into college. You need them when you apply to all the colleges, and those scores are really important, but you have to study. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, and you know what's great about this weekend? We're going to try to give some last-minute tips, but what's great is this almost is practice, because if your kid's a junior, they can take it a couple more times. If your kid's a sophomore or a freshman and you're ahead of the schedule, you're great. You can take it again. So the number one key advice that I'd give them is relax.
Relax.
You know, enjoy it
take a deep
if
breath.
you can. Better you than us, right?
Right. So take a deep breath, relax, because it can be very stressful. You know, you have
Really
pressure
stressful.
from parents, from students, pressure on yourself. You think, oh, if I do bad on my SATs, I'm not going to get into a good school. That can really weigh heavily on a kid's mind.
It really can. And so I think the advice I'd give, obviously, if the SAT's Saturday, now's really not the time to cram. So my advice, number one, would be relax. Number two is when those scores come out, realize it's not the end of the world, and like anything that you can learn and get good at, the SATs you can learn and get good at too. And we've found that it takes about 25 to 30 hours for every 200 points you want to raise your score. So 25 to 30 hours of focused study and practice tends to raise scores a couple hundred points.
So when you talk about the focus study, that's like using those practice test packets. There's lots of books. There's so many resources out there, really.
Yeah, and what we found is guided self-study really seems to work good. Private tutoring is great but expensive. But just focusing on it and really taking the time, like, again, anything, like driving a car or learning a sport, they can get better at this. So.
Okay, let's talk about Ducerus College Planning and the type of services that you offer there for students.
Well, you know what, we do all sorts of SAT prep and everything from career planning to all kinds of stuff. And so our comment again to our students is the same. Let's see how you did, let's go back and practice, and we'll go from there.
You had a really good tip. You mentioned maybe go for a walk before you take the test. You know, that really can kind of help you to relax as well.
Well, here's something else. First of all, we tell them to get a good night's sleep the night before, watch a dumb movie, or a comedy or something like that. Don't try to spend the night cramming. It's time to just let your brain relax and get up at least 2 hours before the test.
Okay.
And the reason is it takes a minimum of 90 minutes for your brain to really get going. So anybody who's like, oh, I'm not a morning person, there's scientific evidence that backs that. And so we recommend getting up early, taking a brief walk, 15, 20 minutes. It gets your brain and your body going. You're going to find you do much better on the test.
And then when you finally head into that classroom to take the test, relax.
Yeah, and I'll give you one last tip if we have time. Remember, the answers are always right in front of you. So you're presented with 5 answers. One of them is the right answer. Get rid of as many as the wrong answers as you can. If you don't know, guess. See what happens.
Just got to find the right one.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for being here, Ron.
You're welcome.